Welcome, friends and family, to another episode of the Backdoor Cut Show. I'm your guy, Zach. You can find me on Twitter at BarnburnerBro. And I got my three compadres with me today, Slim, Big Rich, and the Chief. Rich, you were out of town this week. How was your trip?
Yeah, man, I was in Philly. It was cool. Shit, it was cold, snowing. Got me some cheesesteaks. You know what I'm saying? Saw Rocky and whatnot. So it was cool. Happy to be back in the M, though.
You saw the movie or like the...
Oh, man, shit, they got like some statue or some shit like he was a real boxer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Like he was a real boxer. That's an important historical event. I can't believe you don't remember that.
Rocky single-handedly stopped the Cold War in Rocky IV, man. It was USA versus USSR, and thank God for Sly Stallone.
Man, thank you. Thank God for Sly.
Yeah.
Chief, how was your weekend?
It was good, man. It's down in Mississippi, down in Oxford. It's a good town down there. Good food, good people, good Southern hospitality. But glad to be back in Memphis. Just signed a 13-year, $330 million contract with the Barn Burner, so I'm looking forward to the next over decade and of providing to the best site in Memphis.
Slim, how's the West Coast treating you?
Go to hell, Ole Miss. It was good, man. I got to watch my Tigers play a hard-fought game against Cincy. Had a couple Grizz games to watch. We got to see something out of the norm this year. The Grizz beat the Mavs by 30. So that was exciting to see, although we followed it up just a minute ago with a crushing loss to the Thunder after we led the entire game. And I just felt the wrath of Russell Westbrook. But good weekend overall, man.
Yeah, so we missed the show last week. Not too much went on. But overall, we've got the All-Star game a couple weeks behind us at this point. The roster we have is the roster we have, and which also includes no Jaren, at least for the time being. But kind of want to get you guys' temperature on your feelings post All-Star game. Do you feel any different than you did before? Chandler's back, kind of around those topics. Rich, what are your overall, what's the theme been since the All-Star game for the Grizzlies in your mind?
The theme for the Grizzlies since the All-Star game, I think after All-Star weekend, we kind of got that really, down over the announcement about Jaren. The injury came after, kind of seeing him experience his first All-Star weekend. So initially, once that news came out, I was like, shit, fuck, man. Like, that's a bummer. At this point in the year, you wonder if they're just going to keep him on ice and, just rest him, rehab him. Other than that, man, I will say I have been a fan of the new roster. Granted, it hasn't led to significantly more wins, but I do enjoy watching them play, watching them compete. I think Avery Bradley has really kind of shown some glimpses of who he was in the past. Definitely not the same player he used to be, but shown some glimpses. And man, JV is a beast. So I'm really going to be interested this summer to see what happens with his player option. And yeah, like y'all said earlier, that 30 piece last night was beautiful to see. It's been a long time since we've had kind of something go down like that. And then tonight, of course, we followed up with another frustrating blown lead in OKC minus Paul George. But at this point in the year, man, it is what it is. Let's just see what happens as we round it out.
Our record on back-to-backs has to be terrible because I think both games against Chicago were on back-to-backs. So lost those. I should have won. And I just feel like that is not our strength, especially when we got to sit Mike at this point on back-to-backs. And that's about it. That's about like a third of our offense right there. So we definitely ain't getting to 100 or beating anyone without Mike, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Slim, what about you? How you been feeling since All-Star break?
Well, there are a couple things holding me back from being as elated as I could be, but I'll start with the positives. It's great to see us playing at a more modern pace and not just walking the ball up the floor. We have a really modern day NBA roster with a bunch of versatility, a bunch of guys who can do different things, and a lot of guys who can score the basketball. So that's been exciting, seeing the emergence of Bruno. He's been in the starting lineup basically this whole past week. So seeing him, and he's been a positive almost every time on the court. A stat I found funny was he's in the 93rd percentile in corner threes attempted. But unfortunately, he's in just the second percentile on corner threes made.
What? Oh my gosh! I mean, that sounds right for
a 91% swing there for our boy.
However, on non-corner threes, he's in the 92nd percentile on accuracy. So on non-corner threes, he's butter. So maybe you got to think the corner threes are going to start falling for him too. And he's also in the 96th percentile of blocks. So he's bringing a new element to the game for a wing player that we haven't seen in quite some time. And just the intrigue of him has me really excited. But what has me hurting is just seeing if Jaren was going to take that next step, how he would fit next to JV, who is just like a bull in a china shop. He's really helping our half-court offense because he just goes and gets a bucket and moves guys out of his way. So him and Bruno have really helped the half-court offense. And then we just seem competent in transition because we have guys who can handle the ball and cross over and keep going. So that's kind of cool. What about you, Chief?
That dribbling deal?
Yeah. A lot of guys can handle the ball, yeah. It's been more fun to watch Grizzly basketball. I don't really have much to add in addition to that. Those are some good stats. I will say that what I've been dealing with is every morning I wake up, I sleep with a box fan now for white noise. So the first thing I do is I meander over there and turn that off. But then the next thing I do is usually think, do I want the Grizz to win or lose? I don't know. And I feel like every day that changes, man. Like sometimes I want to tank and maybe increase our likelihood of getting that a number 1 pick and potentially getting Zion. Other times I'm like, we need to get to 9. I think we can. But what consistent thing is that every damn day I wake up, I don't know how I'm going to feel that day, and it's wildly frustrating to live your life, fellas. Like when you don't know where you stand with your own team, then who the hell are you? How do you look a man in the eye at work? And how do you do your job, man? How do you walk down to the corner store and buy some bananas with all this sort of fucking up in the airness? So that's my plight for you guys.
Yeah, up in the air.
Yes.
So do you guys think of where we finish to close out the season, and if we convey the pick or not has any bearing on our likelihood of trading Mike Conley this summer? So if we keep our pick and we pick, do you think that makes us more or less likely to trade Mike than if we convey the pick and don't have a first-round draft pick? Or is it the same no matter what, we're going to trade him?
I would lean towards it's the same. Like, I think that's your main objective this summer is probably to get the most that you can for Mike, kind of either way. I don't think that the trajectory of our rebuilding plan should change as much, like, depending on that pick. Like, I think we still have several years to go before we'll be back into things. So that's where we need to be focused on. And trading Mike's going to get us more assets back to do something towards that goal.
Yeah, so in that mindset, it makes me want to have a draft pick this year, so we have that additional young asset to match with whatever we get back for Mike. I mean, if we could trade him to the Lakers for like Lonzo and Hart or something like that, maybe they need a veteran point guard for LeBron and whoever else they sign, and then you add that with Jaren and Bruno and Kyle and whoever we draft in the top 6, probably Darius Garland is who I'm hearing right now. So, I'm all for going ahead and trading Mike and also adding a draft pick this summer.
Yeah, do you think the Lakers? I mean, I've heard a lot of Lakers talk. I bet they go get Kemba. I think they get Kemba before they got Mike.
Maybe, but they're gonna have to pay Kemba because he's a free agent. So maybe. But
they'll have to pay him for more years.
A 1-year Mike thing,
That's
and
true.
then swing again.
Yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm definitely in the realm of, I think Mike's going to be like on the market regardless of, what happens, whether we convey it, we make the pick. But I think, Slim, like your point, like that Lakers deal, like I think that's a solid return. And then being able to stockpile that with Jaren and Kyle returning to the team, as well as having a, lottery pick in there, that'd be an interesting, bunch of, young players running up and down the court. So
running up and down the court. Yeah. So Slim, so you got some numbers in here about 538 projections. What's your gut say? Do you think we can get there? Because we're not too many games back, and it's just Washington and Dallas ahead of us at this point. And then forget who's in the the actual ninth slot. But we got 2 more games against Dallas. So you can easily pick, or not easily, but like there's an opportunity to pick up 2 games directly there. I think it's possible for us to get to that ninth, but what do the numbers say as far as like official smarter than us people with analytical projections?
Well, most people think we're going to finish 6th. And if you look at our rest of the season schedule, we have the 11th hardest schedule remaining. New Orleans has the 15th. Dallas has the 16th. Hornets and Heat have the 9th and 10th right in front of us. So it's not really a huge disparity in schedule. Minnesota has the 4th toughest schedule. That's a team that we could watch to fall as the season ends. But yeah, I don't think we're conveying the pick. So let's start focusing on these draft prospects. And ultimately, I think it's what I want deep down in my heart is to go ahead and get a draft pick, and we'll worry about conveying the pick next year or whenever it may be.
So the odds too are different this next year, and the difference between the 6th slot and the 9th slot in terms of the first overall pick is 5%. So it's a 9% chance of getting the first overall pick if you're in the 6th slot where we currently are, and the number 1 team, Phoenix, only has a 14% chance.
Yeah, that's the top 4, right?
Yeah, the top 4, top 3 have each 14%.
Okay,
and 4 has 12, 5 has 10%. But it's not like you're significantly where we are, significantly less odds at getting the first pick. What does suck is the likelihood of getting the 7 or 8. Like 50% of the odds is that we fall there, which would be worst case scenario.
That would hurt.
Although if they're looking at Darius Garland, it's possible he's there at that pick, and I'm fine if we're there with that pick. Obviously, that's probably the best pick. But I mean, dude, Zion's like he's another one of those guys. It's probably like a game changing, transcendent talent. So just the notion of possibly getting him is exciting. And I don't know.
So it sounds like today you woke up wanting to tank. That's what I'm hearing in your voice right now.
Today I woke up wanting to tank. Woke up in Mississippi. Was extremely hungover until 2:00. Now I feel good. But yeah. I think that all that wine and whiskey and good cheer last night that I borrowed happiness from today led me to have a tank day. Yeah.
Now, with Rich, you or Zach, do either of y'all feel strongly about wanting to convey the pick this year?
For me, when I first, was thinking about it, I really wanted to just convey in the sense of I just want to get it out the way, right? But as I sit and as the year drags on and the lottery is still, kind of a ways away, I can't help but, be tuned into college basketball and seeing, of course, some of the, amazing players that are in the game right now. Now, for me, of course, worst case scenario is if we do get a lottery pick, if we're low lottery. When you're thinking of Zion, of course, I mean, everybody would take Zion in a heartbeat. I don't really know my thoughts between RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish. I feel like Cam Reddish hasn't been able to fully show his arsenal, being kind of the third wheel there at Duke. But RJ Barrett is definitely, an offensive caliber player who the Grizzlies have never had. And then you talk about Darius Garland, who's floor general. Really that leader who, wasn't able to really hoop at Vanderbilt this year, but I mean, his status is already solidified. So the more and more this season drags on and we wait and I'm able to just watch college basketball, the more and more I'm like, damn, let's get one of these lottery picks and get one of these guys in the Grizz uniform.
Yeah, let's just get him here, man. I just the notion of conveying the pick this year is really more of almost like a debt sort of deal. Like, hey, let me get my debt paid off within this first year, right. As opposed. It feels like the right thing to do, but really it relies on a couple presumptions. The most important of which is that the next 2 drafts are good, which we don't necessarily know either. I know that the presumption is this one's bad, but we know that there's not a Zion in the next 2 drafts. Probably the Zion he's the most talented player of the next 3 drafts. So even the prospect, the notion, the possibility of landing him is almost enough to put your skin in the game for this year.
Well, and not only that, but RJ Hampton and Jalen Green are potentially reclassifying and could be in next year's draft instead of the 2021, which is the one everybody's been harping all over, So things are pretty fluid in this world right now.
Yeah. So I don't know if we can assume that the next 2 drafts are so better that like we have to get rid of the pick this year so we have skin then. But yeah, so Darius Garland too. I did a little research on him after hearing your rumors on that. I mean, he's like a shooter too. He's like an off the dribble guy that can pull up. Apparently, was a really good shooter, like a really modern NBA point guard. Can get kind of a Kemba type. Can just score at will. So I mean.
Well, and it makes sense to go after your point guard if you trade Mike, right? Unless you bring back Lonzo.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like kind of prepared to not. I am prepared to convey the pick in 21. So I think if you stink this year and you get as good a pick as you can, same thing next year, then that gives you 3 back-to-back
lottery pick talents.
high lottery pick, which in theory should be a really good base for a team. And also it's like if I'm being selfish, I want to have something to like root for on draft night like this year. It'd be really boring to watch if you don't have a pick, I think. So hopefully I mean if we can trade Mike for that future pick into kind of cover our base that year for when we convey to Boston, I mean I think that would be pretty ideal. Now I don't know if you can do that if that's a double dip draft and people are going to hold their picks much tighter or whatever the case may be. But I think that is probably the scenario that we're looking at most likely happening. Because I don't see us making like a drastic turnaround and getting out of this, conveyance and getting out of the tops or bottom 6 next year either, really.
Yeah, I mean, unless Jaren takes some type of crazy jump, DeLon Wright blossoms into a full-time starting point guard, triple-double machine. Just those things. Back at like a 3-year, little lower level deal. We got Lonzo running the show. Josh Hart out there.
Yeah. Dude, bringing LeVar to Memphis.
He would freaking
mayor of Memphis.
Oh my, he would be on Jason and John every day. John and LeVar.
Hey, and the whole rest of the family. Good content, that's for sure.
Jello out there getting 30 points a game for the hustle.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing for the Grizzlies.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. No, not at all.
It brings some publicity.
Yeah,
and it's a decent player, maybe. So
we need to compile all the guys with knee injuries, and we'll just take all of them and hope some of them pan out.
Yeah, other than the injuries, I guess. True that.
All right, so this month we did something. We got the staff together and did some power rankings of all the Grizzly players for the month of February. So what we've done is compiled them. You can find a whole list and article and our reasoning behind it on the-barnburner.com. Just go to the NBA tab, and it's listed there. But we got some of the things were pretty interesting between everyone on staff. Had some differences. There was definitely nothing that was unanimous, but the way it shook out is the guy that got the highest power ranking for us for February was Mike Conley. So, that isn't too surprising. He's the best player on the roster at this point. And he played in 9 of the Grizzlies' 11 games in February, led the team in scoring as he tends to do. He literally scored his season average in February, so I thought that was kind of interesting. He did have more...
Well, interesting. You thought it'd be more or less?
It's maybe funny, like that he literally did exactly what he had been doing the whole season, I guess, from that...
Isn't that kind of the point of averages, though?
Right, but I'm saying Mark's gone. Like, Mark's gone, but he's still putting out the same exact output. You would hope that
you do more or less. Oh, okay. You think he'd?
Yeah, I was hoping that he would pick up some of the slack there, or like take a little bit more on himself to score more, but it hadn't been able to. So nothing has changed from that standpoint.
Okay.
That was a long-winded way to say it. That's why that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I just he's interested. I want to know why. I'm interested in why you find things interesting. And
Sam
that's what
cares.
we do. We bring hot analysis here.
Man, I saw someone tweet the other day that we may see Mike Conley play his last game as a Grizz and not know it because they could shut him down at any moment, and that made me really sad.
Oof, that's too real.
I haven't gotten ready for that yet because, like, after we kept him after the trade deadline, I was like, all right, I get, 30 more games of Mike. At least. I didn't think about the shutdown thing. That's true.
They got a
nice 30-piece against the Lakers, which is like a civic holiday in Memphis anytime the Grizzlies beat the Lakers. So
yeah, definitely one of the better showings for sure. And then second in our power rankings was a guy who's just awesome in February.
I can't believe it took us this long to mention his name.
Man.
Go ahead, say it, Professor.
Joakim Noah, guys.
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, he's one of the reasons that I will tune in and go to the games, honestly.
Uncle Joe.
He's just exciting. He's fun. He wants to be there. He's playing for his next deal. Yeah, he's a guy that just makes me smile when not too much else does on a consistent basis.
Yeah, sign him to a lifetime deal, man. Whatever we got to do to keep him around, I'm down to do it.
What did the Knicks give him? Like 4 years, $72 million?
Something like that.
I want to give him 5 years, $100 million. Let's do it. I love Robert Perry right now.
There's like smash cut to us in 6 months bitching about that deal, and
and Rich is like slinking into the bush.
I don't know what y'all talking about.
It's like we recorded a podcast about Jarrett. We roasted Jaren Jackson Jr. as a basketball player for like 30 minutes. And YouTube ate that podcast, so luckily none of us look like complete dick bats.
Thank God.
I appreciate that.
Thank God.
Yeah, thanks. We should have our back. Google, YouTube.
But
whoever's listening.
Yeah, he had 4 double-doubles in February, and he's scored in double figures in 6 games. And he's like a really incredible free throw shooter. Apparently, it's funky, and so he had an awesome game against LA with some monster dunks. Just a energy guy for sure.
And I just wish we could see Jaren Jackson on the court with him, like just feeding off that energy, because Jaren kind of brings a lot of energy to the game himself. So I just hate that we're missing on that, and probably not going to get to see it for the rest of the season. Just like this is when he could really be making that leap, and we just have to wait.
Yeah, because it seemed like Noah was more of a positive influence than Gasol, I think. As far as do what?
Say it again.
Because I think that.
Put your pants back on.
Do you understand, how absurd would that have sounded at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Noah was like, I don't know where he was just working out somewhere, just being super in shape at 34 years old.
Man.
Yeah, he's got those fucking bicep veins, yo, and I'm like, where do I get some of them, man?
Yeah,
he's tan as hell. He looks like
what's his nationality?
He's mixed, right?
Yeah,
he's like French too, I think, isn't he?
His dad was a tennis player. That's all I know. Yeah. That's my Joakim Noah trivia for you.
Yannick Noah.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
I know that he always looks like he just drank 3 daiquiris and walked straight off the beach onto a plane onto the court. Did y'all see that one promotional photo?
Yeah,
with his hair.
Who the fuck approved that shit? Who the fuck approved that shit?
Unreal, man. Awesome.
Hit up Brian City Media. I have questions. Like that shit was terrible.
He literally looks like Marv from Home Alone when he gets electrocuted and he's like his hair sticking up, and it's like that.
Yeah, but Twitter loved it, so that's all that really matters. So I think it may have served its purpose because it got shared a lot more than what a normal picture would have.
Mayhaps, Zachary, mayhaps.
Just trying to get into the mind of the marketing department.
Yeah, that wasn't on purpose.
So third guy on our list for February was Jonas Valanciunas.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything negative about him since he's been on the team?
His defense isn't great. I mean, he's not a very good rim protector, but other than that, no. We're kind of letting defense slide these days anyway. So as long as you can score, come on.
Yeah, he's averaging 18 and 9, and he's got like a double-double almost every time he walks out on the court. So he's been really fun to watch, and he also brings a lot of energy to the game. Thank you, Mr. Valanciunas. We appreciate you. Number 4, Avery Bradley. So I know I ranked him pretty high, mostly because of that San Antonio game. he was just like unconscious there for a little bit. And that's not something that you see too much, I feel like, from the Grizzlies, even though some of his advanced numbers do not favor him very well. I was kind of surprised to see that, because by the eye test, it looks like he is contributing a lot more than apparently he is.
Who's the best scorer that's ever been in a Grizzlies uniform? Like
Pure
in the
scorer?
modern era. Yeah. Like 2010 on.
Zebo or Rudy.
Yeah. I was going to say Zebo or Rudy.
Yeah, I think either Zebo or Rudy probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Zebo did his in an uncharacteristic way too.
Right.
Then his fadeaway, his jumpers, his elbow jumpers were good and always pretty. That fadeaway teardrop jumper, but like Rudy, I guess, was the more like slasher wing. I'm gonna dunk on you.
Yeah,
guy.
OJ never really got the chance, the full like, because he always was playing with Rudy or whatever.
His rookie year, didn't he average like 18 or 19 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But he was hooping for sure. But
fell out the league quick.
yeah, man. Now he's like taking Instagrams in Africa or something. That was the last time. That's the last time I had eyes on Mayo. I don't really know what he's doing now.
Speaking of random Instagrams, our buddy Peter Edmiston from The Athletic reposted one from Robert J. Para, who is in Kazakhstan, and he had a falcon on his arm and something around his neck, and he was dressed out in the native attire. So he's enjoying his time.
All
Yeah,
right.
good. Yeah, that's good. Good.
Well, I'm sure he's on business. That's kind of what his business does, is goes to places like that and makes Wi-Fi that booms from mountaintop to mountaintop. So
He's trying to build some cell towers out there.
Yep. Shout out to JV and Noah. And who is number 4?
Avery.
AV.
Avery.
Yeah.
Man, like none of these guys were on the team like that long ago. And they're making Grizzlies basketball fun again, which competing with the Tigers right now, I feel like it's getting more and more difficult for the Grizzlies as the season drags on. And that's another reason that not having Jaren to close out this season hurts, because with the new guys and Jaren, I feel like you could actually generate some buzz for next season.
Yeah, it's tough right now to really not know, who's going to take their player options and what the roster is going to actually look like next year. The summer will be like, you won't know until then, I guess. So we're just kind of in this, like, I feel like we're just in the middle ground, this purgatory on so many things. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty fair to assume that Avery will, or his is a team option or whatever, but CJ will opt in, and I assume Valanciunas will as well.
So number 5 on the list, rounding out the starting 5, if you will, of the power rankings, Jaren Jackson Jr. So I think most months we would expect him to be one of the top players. But February, we found out about his bruise on his leg, and he's kind of been benched. And that's where we stand at this point. But in the 6 games he did play, he averaged 16.8 points, 5 rebounds on 46% shooting. I was really hoping that at least, one of these final months he would bust out of it and get a Rookie of the Month award, but that's clearly not going to happen at this point. So we're probably just see Luka get it like however 2 more times. Or do they give one out for April, because it's not like the whole month?
I think it's like March and April.
Oh, it's like a combined one.
Trey might get one too, man. Trey's been playing really well.
Yep. In 4 overtime games, he can get some buckets. You can rack them up. Rack them. That's my old school YouTube meme trivia. That's all I know.
Nice.
All right.
Pop culture savant over here.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, dude.
First man off the bench, Ivan Rabb. So we talked about him a bunch last time. Really,
we talk about him now.
Yeah, he doesn't get out there, and when he's out there, he is not taking advantage of he's not being near as efficient as he was, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, February seems so far away for Ivan Rabb.
Yeah, my most vivid, he played well against New Orleans. That was a pretty solid game, but he was just getting bullied against the Spurs by LaMarcus Aldridge. Granted, he just like the way he plays, he just bullies everyone illegally, I think, a lot of times. He gets a lot of freaking calls or no calls, whatever. But I feel like since he dominated Rab's just like not been the same or not gotten the opportunity to play. And granted, a lot of that has to do with Chandler coming back and messing up everything. Number 7 on our list, Bruno Caboclo.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know if I speak for everyone, but this is a guy who's quickly rising up my power rankings. And Mason, like you mentioned, he's not like for face value, his stats aren't super awesome or anything, but you feel when you're watching the game that he's impacting it. Because I'll look up and I'll see he's only got 2 points, and you're like, feels like he's been doing a lot more than that.
Yeah, he was a -9 tonight, and that was the first game all week he hasn't been a positive. And he just impacts the game in so many ways with his wingspan and ability to shoot the ball. One thing he can work on is when he puts it on the floor, his passing off the dribble is pretty shoddy. Usually results in a turnover. But other than that, man, I'm excited to see what he can bring to the team in the future.
Yeah, Rich, where do you see like Caboclo playing on this roster? Like what kind of player, what position?
No, I think definitely I see just Bruno being able to use his length really to his ability to affect whether that be the 3 or the 4. Like, I think his shooting ability gives him the option of playing out there in the wing. If he like becomes like a consistent knockdown shooter, like it could really be a problem. Like he has a decent stroke. You can tell he just doesn't have like a high usage rate. But with the Grizzlies, especially this tail end of the season, he's going to get a lot more of opportunity to just, pull the trigger on those shots. And then I think defensively, like, seeing him on the wing, like using those long ass fucking arms to just, prevent drives or, meeting people at the rim like he did Kuz with the Lakers last week. He's just able to really react kind of quickly and use that wingspan to his advantage. So I'm definitely interested to see, what JB, is going to do with him position wise. I think is he starting at the 3 now? He's the 3, right?
I think he's starting at the 4.
Starting at the 4? Okay.
Yeah.
I think he could is fluid between the 3 and the 4, depending on, the matchups.
Right.
But I think we could utilize him in that way. If it's a matchup night for Bruno, man, he could just go out there at the 3 or the 4.
Yeah, and the offense is a positive 10.4 points per possession better with Bruno on the floor, which leads the team. And he's trailed closely by CJ and then Jonas. So those guys are making a big impact. Obviously, small sample size for them, but just nice to know that we have people who can score the ball, except for the last 2 minutes against OKC.
Yeah, we do not have that part of the game covered. That's still a big gap for us, I think. That was a big sigh.
That was a bad loss.
Oh,
Time and time again, man. It's like fucking Groundhog Day. Like Bill Murray waking up, take another L, and watch a bunch. I don't know. I can't even articulate right now my frustrations. So just let that sigh speak for itself.
No, I think it did. It spoke 1,000 words. It was
Yeah.
It was like as much of a picture as you could have for radio.
I mean, here we are. We're talking these power rankings. These guys that likely aren't on the team for like much longer. Likely we trade them. They're expirings, or maybe we reassign them. But like who's really good on this team? The team's not that good, man. Like that, we're reveling in Avery Bradley like 17-foot jumpers. And because that's all what we have to do, and we're reveling in the possibility of Brunko, which by the way you spelled him Brunko in the article. I'm not
refresh your browser, dude.
So our boy Brunko, we're hoping maybe he turns into a guy that does a lot and shoots, and he looks like he could, but right now he's a fringe rotation guy. This team's really bad, man, and this exercise made me even more aware of like how hard it is to get excited about this roster.
Yeah, there's
So
as we get towards the
but
bottom, we don't have much to look forward to. Rounding out the rest of the group, we got DeLon Wright, CJ Miles, Holiday, Parsons, Dorsey, and then Carter. So really, you can kind of just lump all those guys together. I feel like nothing really exciting. CJ Miles is. So I know Sam, you and I have talked at some games that like he's a gunner. We're not used to seeing someone just come off the screen and just shoot without
thinking
any
about
thought.
it for 7 to 8 hours.
Yeah,
But
maybe he should think because he's shooting like 27% from three. So
that's
being with the Grizz,
27% I've seen. I feel like it's always going in when he shoots it. But that's
no. Yeah. See, I feel like it isn't.
I don't know. I feel like he's shooting much better than that. I don't know.
I think Justin Holiday is just really frustrating me, man. I just don't.
Oh, bro, yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I just don't understand. Like,
he plays so much.
He plays so.
He might be a positive. I don't know. Like, but it feels like he plays so many minutes.
There's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I don't think he's what you would want to trade 2 players and 2 picks for.
A lot of upside with DeLon, though. You know, we talked about it ad nauseum. Certainly young, still 26. Man, he really is just like one more leap away from being a really good asset. And I don't know if we've ever shown any sort of inept or ability to develop guards. Really, that's like maybe Dylan Brooks got better, maybe, but I'd be worried about our ability to develop DeLon into a good guy. But he has the tools, so I like watching him.
Yeah, in the first half tonight, he had 15, 5, and 5, and then seemed to kind of fall off in the second half. But it's like the ability is there, and to his credit, I guess, since he came over, his offensive numbers have been way down for what they normally have been over the past couple of years of his career. So maybe it's just making the adjustment, or maybe it's just playing more. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised, like we talked about earlier, to see Mike kind of sitting out at least some games to close out the season and seeing more DeLon so they can kind of figure out what they have.
I mean, he said out tonight, right? For what? General soreness? I think that was the
I got that every day.
Yeah. Shit, me too.
Yeah, man. I wish I could tell work to hey, bros, not coming in today. My knee kind of fucking hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Do y'all think Tyler Dorsey is someone that sticks around?
I can't decide. Like, he made a couple shots tonight, but I'm leaning towards probably not.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can't imagine us paying him any retaining him on any sort of deal. I think he was just kind of sweetener to get rid of Mac. The fact that we got a body, right? Yeah. The fact that we got a human being back in that trade.
Breathing.
Yeah. Can play basketball, apparently. Yeah, that was cool.
But with that said, we're operating so close to the tax line. Maybe we do bring him back next year on whatever his deal is, if it's minimum or something like that. It's going to depend on what we get back when we trade Mike, how closely we're operating to the tax line next season, because as of right now, we don't have a lot of wiggle room or like a lot of money to throw at young players or anything really. So going to have to get creative, and hopefully that is under the direction of a new general manager and front office staff.
Throwing down the hammer.
Well, I mean, just going into the summer when you're going to be making moves, I feel like you want someone who is respected around the league, has connections. You kind of want your name to be a buzz, so when people are willing and dealing, they're like, oh, let me call so-and-so who Memphis just hired. I know he's trying to get rid of Mike Conley and trying to rework this roster into what they want to see in the future. So I think it just makes a lot of sense, like from a PR standpoint, not just for the local fans, but just to create some buzz around the league. Like, seems like we always are talking with the same couple of teams. It's like Boston and the Clippers and like the same teams. And it just feels like, I mean, it doesn't feel like we know the time has come for some change, and like we got to do it heading into this offseason, which could be transformative for, the franchise. Like, there's no other way around it. These next couple summers are huge, as was this trade deadline. And we left the same people in charge, and there's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, we've seen that for several years at this point. So I will not go to bat for them. How about that?
Right. But the team is fun to watch.
Yeah, there's something that you can tune into the game and enjoy. So there's a lot to be said for that. It's definitely entertaining in the least.
Yeah, man. Chandler's back.
Oh yeah,
that's what I look. I can go to like the Y down the street and watch that kind of basketball. You come on.
He misses every open shot he takes, bro.
Like versus the Lakers, he was just bricking. Like I think he was like 2 for 10.
Bro.
You know the reason I know Chandler's done? Because he now has a girlfriend. That's like when you know. Like he decided, oh, it's time for me to stop chasing. I'm out here. Got this girl. Yeah, like she looks the exact same as the last 10 girls he's dated. But I'm sure she's perfect in every way. But what I will say is that's when you know the man doesn't even want to be on the chase anymore. He just wants to settle down, turn on Netflix, and collect that money from our front office from 191 Beale. You fucking thief. You fucking you con artist. You scam artist. You liar. You cheat. You slither out of Knoxville. No. He knew that his knees were fucked up.
Yeah, but you're not gonna say, "Hey, I don't think you should actually pay me this much." No way.
I mean, I'm talking about what the logical move is and make him less of a fucking little snake. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying. I'm over here speaking truth.
He's been unlucky at some times, and he's been lucky at some times.
I mean, I don't enjoy how everyone pushes the narrative that he's like some great guy. Like we don't know that. Like like y'all don't like by all accounts from like people who see him and interact with him. Outside of like scheduled appearances, like he's a douche, like by most accounts. So like for these the media members to go on and say he's a great guy though, like he hasn't really seemed like a great guy. Maybe he is, but I haven't.
No, dude, he bought like 300 terrace seats for people, like for the first game of the season.
Yeah, you mean they couldn't sell enough?
Yeah.
And now with the Grizzlies give away 500 every game, don't they?
Yeah, I mean they're bought by the players. Those are actually bought by the players, but they also give away a lot of tickets. I would assume, seeing how attendance has been going.
Yeah, they're running like 60% off sales for the rest of the year now.
And he hired his publicist to write that Players Tribune article about Memphis. That was nice of him.
Can't forget that.
Yeah. Or someone wrote that. Wasn't John Steinbeck, I'll tell you that. But it was, someone. I don't know.
I mean, I would imagine these are the last 20-something games we'll ever see of him in a Grizzlies uniform, and I would.
What do you think we do? Trade him?
Buy him out, whatever. Like he's not.
I don't want to buy him out though. I feel like
you got to pay him no matter what. So.
Yeah, I know, but then he can go sign with somebody. I kind of want to keep him on in.
Make him suffer.
I kind of want to make him suffer.
Have him rot in hell.
I kind of want to keep him and bench him for the whole season. I mean, I'm playing fucking chess, not checkers, bro.
What does that help? What does that help?
Then you got a roster spot, like just hogged by him.
Dude, don't you know that vengeance is like a really positive emotion, and you should always try to do it? Like, never mind anything else. No, look, it definitely keeps a roster spot, but like, it's not like who are we gonna sign? I guess if it comes down to like, we're trying to make plays for players and we need open roster spots, so like, okay, we buy them out, but I don't know. I just hate to buy it. That feels like officially being big leagued, and by him, like that's like the last straw of the big leaguing is us buying him out and then him re-signing with another team. Not that who would sign him, I get that, but I don't know. I would feel like we lose entirely if that happens.
Sometimes the best thing a man can do is own his mistakes, cut ties.
Yeah.
I mean, because if we keep him around, somebody might fucking play him. I don't imagine it's going to be JB, who's the head coach next year, but whoever it is might be hoodwinked into playing Chandler Parsons more than 0 minutes per game, and that would be a travesty for the franchise moving forward.
Well, let me put this on you. All right, so Jaren likes Chandler, like that. We know that based on we don't know that, but it seems like it. Like him and Noah and Jaren seem to be boys. That's something. Like I don't know. It's not nothing. Is it enough to not buy him out? Probably not. But when you have your star, your 19-year-old impressionable star, like do you keep boys around that he likes? That actually go out and stuff. I don't know.
No, it's a tough league, kid, man. You better get used to it.
You talking to Sam or Jaren?
Yeah, shit, man. Yeah.
I'm talking to Jaren. It's a tough league, man. We're gonna cut ties with Chandler, man. Hopefully he's as good a dude as we think, and y'all maintain this friendship and he keeps you positive. But he's not gonna be a member of the Grizzlies.
That's a pretty fair
now,
way.
Joe Kim? Yeah, we're gonna keep his ass. There's my dog.
You like pina coladas? Joakim Noah in the rain.
But if we re-sign him, we got to keep him in Memphis like all summer, all off season. We can't let him go.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not back to New York.
Too lit up there.
He's not coming back if he goes to New York.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for tonight.
That about does her.
That's
Wraps her
about
up.
it. So this week, let's see what the Grizz got on tap. We got the Blazers at home on Tuesday, and then also Jazz at home on Friday, and then also Orlando at home on Sunday. So trio of home games this week. Get out to the Forum to see Joakim Noah and Mike Conley, because it might be Mike Conley's last game in Memphis, as you heard it here at some point during the shuffle of everything. In passing. I don't know.
For sure. At some point, Mike Conley will play his last game in Memphis.
And you want to be there for that.
Someday that will happen. I can tell you that. Now when, I don't know.
Hey, at least the team's been competitive, man. So you're not going to have to go watch a 30-point blowout, it doesn't seem like.
Maybe not.
You can find us on Twitter at Backdoor Cut Show. Also, be sure to go to our website, the-barnburner.com. And until next week, we'll see you later.
Peace.